Hello students, this is Dr. Mercado speaking. Welcome back as we continue chapter 4, which deals with income tax withholding. Now in this particular lecture we're going to be going over problem 4.6a. Okay, this problem deals with gross up supplemental pay. So in this particular problem, Damerly Company, a Utah employer, wants to give a holiday bonus check of $250 to each employee. This is a very common practice during the holidays. They pay out bonuses to employees. Now, the bonus check needs to be $250. That is how much the check needs to read. Okay. Now, since it wants the check amount to be $250, it will need to gross up the amount of the bonus. So we can go ahead and figure out how much amount should I actually pay. After all of my deductions, the employees will get a check for $250. Okay. So we have to calculate the withholding taxes and the gross amount of the bonus to be made to John Roll if his cumulative earnings for the year are $46,910. That is very important to know because we need to know, has this employee gone over the OASDI cap? Okay. In this case, he has not. Okay, he has made way below the cap, so we don't have to worry about exceeding the cap for OASDI purposes. Okay. Besides being subject to Social Security taxes and federal income tax at the supplemental rate, a 4.9% Utah income tax must be withheld on the supplemental payment. Okay. Now on your textbook, you are going to locate the grossed up formula. Okay. So basically, under this section, it says that in order to give an employee the intended amount of a supplemental payment, the employer will need to gross up the amount so that after the appropriate payroll taxes are withheld, the net amount left is equal to the original intended amount. In this case, the intended amount of that check needs to be $250. Okay, and this is the formula we're going to follow. So the grossed up amount is equal to the intended payment divided by 1 minus all of the applicable tax rates. Okay, we have FICA, 22% federal income tax rate, and state tax rate. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's do the calculations. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is the intended payment. Okay, the intended payment is $250. Okay, and we're going to divide that. Let me put a bigger line. Underline. Let me put a bottom border. Okay, we're going to divide by 1 minus the applicable tax rates. Okay, so the first one we have is 0.22%. This is the supplemental federal rate. Okay, when we are giving bonuses, we are paying at a standard rate of 22% tax. Okay, we're going to subtract the 0.62%. This is for OASDI. I'm going to subtract 0.0145 for HI. And I'm going to subtract 0.0495 for Utah. Okay, let me just, for the Utah tax rate. Okay, Utah tax. Okay. So let me margin center this. Okay, there we go. Let me just put an underline right here. Okay, so I've got my $250. It's going to be 1 minus the supplemental federal rate of 22% minus my OASDI minus my HI minus my Utah tax, which is right here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and that's how we set up the formula. The amount of the intended payment, 1 minus the applicable taxes. Okay. Now, for the next step is we're going to run these calculations. Okay. So we're going to do the $250 and we're going to divide by 1 minus the amount of my total taxes. So I'm going to get my calculator out. And the amount of my total taxes is 0.22 for my federal. Okay. And then 0.062 for my OASDI, 0.0145 for my HI, 0.0495 for my Utah tax. So that gives me 0.346. Okay, 0.346. Okay, And then that is going to give me 1 minus 0.346. That's going to give me 0.654. Okay? Okay? So now I know that I need to get my $250, and I'm going to divide by my 0.654, which we just calculated. And remember, we got that 0.654. 1 minus 0.346 gives me my 0.654 number right there. Okay, so now I'm going to get my 250, which is the amount of my intended payment, divided by my 0.654. And then that is going to give me 250 divided by 0.654. That's going to give me $382.26. Okay, 382.26. Okay, so this is my gross up amount. According to my calculations, I need to pay my employees $382.26, so I can be able to at the end of the day be able to issue them a check for $250. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna check our work. Okay, because I don't trust this formula, or maybe I made a mistake somewhere. So let's check our work. Okay, so I've set down here a little template so we can check our work and we can make sure that that dollar amount is correct. That's my gross up amount. Okay, so my gross bonus amount, according to my calculations, is $382.26. Okay, my federal income tax, and I'm going to do the calculations on the side, it'll be $382.26, and for when we're grossing up bonuses, my flat rate is at a 22%. Okay, and let's see what that gives us. So it'll be $382.26 times 22%. That will be 84.097. Now, because that third digit is greater than a 5, I'm going to round up to 84.10. Okay. Now I'm going to put it in minus because these are deductions. Okay. Deductions. Okay. Now for my OASDI, I'm going to get my 382.26, and I'm going to multiply times 6.2%. Sorry about that. 6.2%. And that's going to be 382.26 times 6.2%. And that's going to give me 23.70. Okay. For HI, it'll be 382.26 times 1.45%. Okay. 382.26 times 1.45%. That'll give me 554. Okay. For the Utah tax, it's 382.26. My tax is 4.95%. That is provided to you in the problem right there. Okay. That's where I'm getting the number from. 382.26 times 4.95%. That gives me $18.92. Now I'm going to get my calculator, and I'm going to get my 382.26. I'm going to subtract my federal of 84.10. I'm going to subtract my OASDI of 23.70, my HI of 554, and my Utah income tax of $18.92. And that's going to give me a check of $250. Voila. Okay, we did it good. So that means that the amount that I do have to issue out to my employees is $382.26. For this particular employee, remember, if they go over the cap, then that calculation for OASDI will be different. Okay, but if the employee made less than the cap, this is what we have to pay each of our employees, $382.26, so they can be able to take home a check for $250. Okay. Remember, when we are calculating, in this particular case, bonuses, the amount that we use for that taxes for that particular payment will be at a rate of 22%, the standard rate. Okay. That is how you run the formula. The 250, 1 minus all of the taxes. We calculate the amount. 1 minus the total of my taxes was 0.346. Once we figure that out, we get the 250 over the 1 minus 0.346. That gave me that 0.654. and then you divide those two numbers, and that will give you the amount of your gross up amount. That is the amount that we have to pay our employees so they can be able to take home 250. We ran the numbers, and sure enough, if we pay them 382.26 after all applicable taxes, they will be taking home $250. Okay? So that is basically it for this problem. Review the formula carefully. Be very careful on your calculations that you add them correctly so you can be able to get the correct amount here, subtract from 1, and then get the amount that we are going to be dividing by to be able to calculate our gross up amount. Okay? So that is it for problem 468. Until next time. Thank you.